Welcome to For Glory Fighting Arts. I'm Edgar Wiseman, and today we'll be doing an in-depth review of the new Krieger Armory Sentry, launched exclusively at Cult of Athena. Full disclosure, this is not a sponsored video. I bought the Sentry full price with my own money, and I am reviewing this product critically and in earnest. So for today's review, I will be using the familiar S through F tier systems, S being the highest possible rating and F being the lowest possible rating. S tier is something that I consider to be outstanding or superb in quality, form, or function. This rating means it would match or exceed the consensus for best in class if compared to its contemporaries. A tier is something that I consider to be great or even excellent, but just below the peak. B tier is something good and reliable, but also an upgrade to the baseline requirements, like Acura is to Honda, Lexus is to Toyota. It's really nice, but there's still room for improvement that gets met at the upper echelons. C tier is average, middle of the pack. This rating means the requirement for use has been firmly established, but nothing else of noteworthy has occurred, but there is some flaws that could be addressed. D tier, I don't recommend. Proceed at your own risk with D tier. Several flaws and money will be better spent elsewhere. F tier, insufficient for consideration. Avoid at all costs. Now that that's covered, let's start with the blade quality. The blade is tempered 1075 spring steel. It has a measurable distal taper. You'll see about that later on in the performance section. I measured the blade flex on a scale myself, and there is obvious bend at 22 pounds of pressure, making it very safe in the thrust and friendly for your sparring partners. Now, I gotta tell you, the transition lines, the fuller grinds, the rebated edge, and the R4 spatulated tip are very well crafted and give the Sentry that Art Deco exotic sports car eye candy that Krieger Armory has become synonymous for. As a matter of fact, I have affectionately named my Sentry Big Sexy because it looks that good. My only complaint is that the fullers could be polished and cleaned prior to shipping, because I received mine with what I believe to have been an inconsistent coat of black paint on the fullers, but I recently learned that it's just dirtiness left over from production. It threw me off a bit there. I was like, man, why they sent this out? It could look a little bit better than that. So quality assurance needs to get on top of that. I feel like actually bluing or brassing the fuller grinds, or maybe even blacking them, would be a awesome addition to the product. That's my opinion. It's an easily fixable cosmetic thing. So overall, I give the Sentry's blade a S rank at 9.8 for outstanding. Next on the docket is the hilt furniture and grip. The twisted quillions, or handguard, or crossguard as some call it, is pure eyegasm. The common fetter ain't hot like this. I know it and you know it. So I'm just keeping it real. Also, the handguard is double hardened and heat tempered for durability. The blade fits tightly into the handguard with no gap, and there's no rattling of the fittings. The scent stopper is smooth with an immaculate peen, but there are a few tooling scratches on the outside diameter of the pommel that came on my Sentry. Now for the harshest part of my review, the grip. The grip is wasted and very ergonomic for the majority of hand sizes. I wear extra large clamshell gauntlets, so I have, large hands or extra large hands. And I would have preferred a slightly thicker grip by about 4 millimeters or some risers. I think that risers would have really improved the tactile feedback, but it's a well-shaped grip regardless. My biggest rub with this outstanding Longsword Fetter hybrid is the hand grip materials and finish. The core is durable, but it's 3D printed nylon wrapped in some twine-like cord, then covered in resin. The pictures don't make it too apparent, but in person, the resin on my Sentry was a little cloudy and I did have some bubbling in some places. It says a lot though that my only complaints about the Sentry as a product are minor cosmetics and a preference for a few things on the grip. But for $640 to $670 US and a 12 to 16 month wait time it takes to get a competition grade Krieger Armory creation, all parts need to justify that wait time and the price they command. The grip could come with a wood core, maybe some leather wrappings, considering their competitors offer those options while being $200 to $300 cheaper. That being said, Krieger Armory is deservingly acknowledged as a maker of elite caliber HEMA swords and fetters. That reputation comes with high expectations from consumers such as myself, and Krieger still finds a way to meet or exceed them. I gotta give the hilt furniture and grip an overall of 9.0, making it A tier. Moving on to the part of the review most people are probably curious about, the performance. Close your eyes. Seriously, close them. Imagine you're on a racetrack like Daytona or Nuremberg. Not familiar with those? Think about the hills of Monaco or the Autodromo in Sao Paulo, Brazil. You imagine it? Now imagine yourself behind the wheel of a LaFerrari, because that's what this is. Ever did 140 miles per hour into a corner and come out doing 130 miles per hour? You can now. The hybrid Krieger isn't just a talking point, it's actually in the properties of the Sentry. It can do all the cuts. Master cuts, jump cuts, super cuts, uppercuts, cold cuts, you name it. This fetter is 52 inches long and 3.5 pounds, but it never felt like it was. I never felt fighting to get the blade moving or for it to change directions, for feints or parries. The tip speed on the Sentry is tremendous. It's pure bliss to take strongly or seize the board. Unleash a cut or a thrust and hear that whoosh right before impact. If I see an opening I want to attack, I feel confident in being able to attack at my longest measure or initiate a strong bind. While we're talking about binding and winding, I tested this fetter against all types of other fetters to get a feel. I also had my club mates use it so that they could, fight in opposition to me so I can make sure that it's, I'm getting good data to make this review. I formulated my ratings on the findings and placed the bind presence of the Sentry between the full length Siggy King and the standard length Red. Those are very reputable companies and fetters. When this sword is in motion, it's stable with minimal wobble, given its high flexibility. That distal taper is distal tapering. The center of balance is close to the crossguard, making the sword fetter hybrid, an agile defender and aggressive attacker. I didn't have any complaints about the Sentry hitting too hard or about the thrust being painful either. I rate the Sentry's overall performance score at a 9.8, placing it in S tier. My final thoughts on the Sentry are posted in the pros and cons section right here. It's your money and you can spend it however you want, but I also have on display a who should and shouldn't be in the market for a Sentry. Remember though, this is just my opinion. You know what? In conclusion, I give the Krieger Armory Sentry a 9.53 overall. Because if the LaFerrari was a HEMA Longsword, it'd be a Sentry. Thanks for stopping by for my review. And don't forget to hit that follow and like button.